I am legally required by talk show rules to ask you if we will see the Hulk again.
I do know that I did give Kevin Feige the Blockbuster Award at the Hollywood Film Awards the other day, to a smattering of applause. And he did say, hey, do you think there's any more story left here? And I said, I could probably come up with a few storylines. And he said, well, maybe you should come in and we'll have a talk.
Oh.
So, you heard it here.
There it is.
Stephen Colbert.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Happy New Year. I got a lot of requests from you to do a video about the big Hulk news. Apparently, Marvel got the rights back to do a Hulk movie, so I'll try to explain what's going on. But as you can see, Mark Ruffalo is now pitching new Hulk movies to Kevin Feige that would make a lot more sense if they finally have all the rights to the Hulk back. So I'll break everything down what's going on behind the scenes in my top picks for what that Hulk movie could be. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the Marvel videos. We're doing a new IMAX ticket giveaway too. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your best pick for a new Hulk movie on the video. So you guys may have seen recently the last couple of days, there have been a lot of news reports from websites that Marvel may have just gotten the rights to do a Hulk solo film back from Universal. It makes a lot more sense that they would be planning new Hulk movies if that were true. The clip of Mark Ruffalo talking about new movies with Kevin Feige is actually from the summer, a couple months ago after Avengers Endgame came out, because everyone was wondering, what are they going to do with the Hulk now? His arm's in a sling, is that going to heal because of his gamma powers? Where's he going to show up during Marvel Phase 4? When I first saw that clip, immediately I just assumed that he was talking about business as usual in terms of what they were allowed to do with the Hulk character. That meant he would probably show up during the Marvel Phase 4 She-Hulk series in Avengers 5. But Avengers 5 isn't happening for a couple years till Marvel Phase 5. The She-Hulk series is happening in the next couple of years. And the big reason why they haven't made a new Hulk solo film since the Edward Norton Marvel Phase 1 Incredible Hulk film is because up to this point, Universal has held the rights to distribute Hulk movies. It's not like it was with Fox, the X-Men, Deadpool, and Fantastic Four characters. Universal never had the rights to make a Hulk movie. They just controlled the distribution rights. But the problem is that's where the studios make all their money. So look at this giant chart here of who holds the rights to all the Marvel characters. This was updated right after Disney bought Fox, so that's why all the Fox characters are inside the giant red Marvel bubble. Notice some of the studios like Sony where they share the rights with characters. It's the same with Universal. There's a sort of sharing situation going on. Universal got the rights to the Hulk characters back when Marvel went bankrupt in the 90s, and they had their fire sale on the movie rights to all their big characters. That's when Sony got the rights to Spider-Man, when Fox got the rights to X-Men and Fantastic Four. I don't say Deadpool because technically Deadpool falls under the X-Men rights, even though he is a franchise by himself, has surpassed the traditional X-Men films. But since the 90s, Marvel has always had the rights to physically make a Hulk solo film. They just haven't had the rights to distribute it, meaning that Marvel and Disney wouldn't make any money on the Hulk movies that they would make. The deal with the Spider-Man characters isn't quite the same thing because technically Sony makes most of the box office money and Marvel just gets the rights to include Spider-Man in their movies. The brand new sharing deal that they just signed to get Tom Holland back into the MCU gives Marvel a bigger piece of the box office pie, but for the most part, Sony distributes the Spider-Man films. Marvel just makes them. Sony makes most of the money on the box office. Marvel makes most of the money on the merchandise, on all the other stuff outside of the movie. Apparently up to this point, though, Universal was not willing to make the same kind of deal with Marvel that Sony did. So there's that funny video of Mark Ruffalo talking about Universal hating money. Watch this. This is actually from before Avengers Endgame.
I want to just make one thing perfectly clear today. A standalone Hulk movie will never happen.
Tell me why.
Because Universal has the rights to the standalone Hulk movie, and for some reason, they don't know how to play well with Marvel. And they don't want to make money.
And with you as the new Hulk, it would be terrible. So that's really probably
that's
the reason.
Probably
because we know that these corporations would work it out if they thought they'd make enough money. So
I
it's
think
clearly about who's playing Hulk. Let's be
honest.
honest.
I mean, I figure I got like 2 or 3 more years left before I'm too old to play the Hulk.
Oh, you're too old now. Let's be honest. You're kind of too old now. Let's just be real.
But seriously, this is something that you're trying to make happen, and it's just not going to happen.
We talked about it, but I don't see it in the cards. Do you see it in the cards?
No.
See?
I can't believe he asked the question.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little cruel of him.
It was.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
He-
It's okay.
You could see how he
I'm
carries
fine.
it a lot. on set. It's
It means a
upsetting
lot to
him.
me. I mean, I really love this character.
great in the movie, don't worry about it.
That clip is from a while ago. You can hear the bitterness in his voice. Like, he just never believes in his heart of hearts that they're ever going to be able to do a solo Hulk film. And based on what he says, it sounds like up to this point, Universal didn't want to make the same type of deal with Marvel that Sony did for the Spider-Man character. But apparently, whatever black magic ritual Marvel and Kevin Feige performed recently, they may have just fixed all their Hulk problems with that. And that's why you're seeing these news reports from websites saying that they can make a new Hulk movie again. It would be set after the events of Avengers Endgame, so you'd have the Professor version of Hulk. You'd have to explain what happens to him before you do anything else with the character. But here are my top picks for what they can do with new Hulk stories that they have not done yet. Just some easy slam dunks. First off is just going back to the planned story arc that they originally had for Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk. You may have seen the article going around about Tim Blake Nelson. He was the actor that played the leader during that movie and then just disappeared because they didn't make any more sequels. He revealed the original plans for that trilogy. He said that William Hurt, Edward Norton, and himself all signed on to do a trilogy of Incredible Hulk movies. Eventually, his leader character was supposed to become the main villain. You all saw what happened because of the problems with the rights, and they got rid of Edward Norton for Mark Ruffalo before the first Avengers movie. Marvel let Tim Blake Nelson out of his contract, and then signed William Hurt to a new one so that he could appear during Civil War and all the other Marvel films. Edward Norton also recently revealed why he was fired by Marvel, because he got into a big creative fight with them and Kevin Feige over the idea of what that Hulk trilogy was going to become. Because Edward Norton claims that he signed on for a much darker, hardcore version of the Hulk than what we've seen from Mark Ruffalo's version. A hardcore version of the Hulk would be amazing. World War Hulk would even make a great Avengers movie. Forget just solo Hulk movies, you could actually turn that into a big Avengers crossover. Then there is the classic Hulk vs. Wolverine, easy slam dunk movie. They're not even going to have space in their movie release schedule to actually release a new Hulk solo movie till Marvel Phase 5, and that's the target period when they're introducing a lot of their new X-Men Marvel characters. It would be super easy for them to do Hulk vs. Wolverine then. And talk about deep-cut comic book origins. Comic book Wolverine debuted for the first time in the Incredible Hulk comics. Hulk was rampaging his way across the Canadian border, so the Canadian version of Thunderbolt Ross unleashed quote-unquote Weapon X on him. When he steps out of the shadows to fight the Hulk, it's Wolverine wearing his original comic book costume. Over the next several years, they had several rematch fights in the comics. He eventually got his own solo title, then Wolverine joined the X-Men, and so on and so forth. The other really easy slam dunk is just giving Thunderbolt Ross a proper Red Hulk origin story and then passing the Hulk torch to him, so to speak, in the movies for a little while, en route to a Thunderbolts Red Hulk series or even a Dark Avengers movie. I think Marvel and Sony do have big plans for the Norman Osborn character eventually, a very different version of his character, but if they can't do that, Thunderbolt Ross would be a great proxy for that. He does show up prominently during the Black Widow trailer, but there are two different versions of Thunderbolt Ross in that trailer. There's the one that you see, and then the one you hear. The voiceover he has with Natasha is actually from the events of Captain America Civil War when she goes on the run back to Budapest. The version you see here in this scene, who looks way younger with the de-aging technology, seems like it's actually from the 90s because he doesn't have any gray hair, this is all blonde, and is probably from the first time he meets Natasha when she's still part of the Black Widow program. My early theory about what's going on with Thunderbolt Ross right now, just based on the footage we've seen and what they've talked about, is I think they're using him in a sort of reverse Nick Fury type of role. Like, they don't want to put Nick Fury in this film, even though he is prominent in Natasha's backstory. But they want to use Thunderbolt Ross in service of setting up a Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers future project, with the Yelena Belova character taking the mantle of Black Widow after the events of Avengers Endgame and having Thunderbolt Ross ask her to join his quote-unquote new team that he's putting together, Nick Fury style. The really cool thing being that it becomes a dark mirror for that original Nick Fury Iron Man post-credit scene at the beginning of Phase 1. But let me know in the comments, if Marvel got the rights back to do a Hulk solo film, what kind of movie do you want them to do with him during Marvel Phase 5? You may have also seen they're finally releasing a brand new New Mutants trailer tomorrow morning. That'll probably be my next video, so as long as you have alerts enabled for my channel, you should see that when I post it. Everyone click here to learn about the new Quicksilver stuff that's happening with Doctor Strange 2 and WandaVision, and click here for my brand new Marvel Deadpool 3 video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. Happy New Year.